agenda for today. Nutrition. Any fitness program or any general health, nutrition is the base. It's the base, it's the foundation of everything. You cannot out-train your bad diet. There is no way around. Foundation in CrossFit, usually we have really great way of explaining this. This is our pyramid of how we progress, and at the bottom of it we have metabolism, metcon, conditioning. Just above that we have body weight, gymnastics, controlling the body weight. We have built this nice pyramid of growth for jumping, throwing here, weightlifting, and then throwing, jumping, weightlifting, everything. And at the top, once you are pretty good base, you translate that skill, that capacity, that general physical preparedness you have to your sport. Ultimately, we should all be trying to learn a new sport, play a new sport all the time. And that's the CrossFit pyramid. We have the base. Now, what we don't usually see people talking about is this base is actually bigger. And at the bottom of this, nutrition, used to be just nutrition. Now we include lifestyle as well, which is part of your whole lifestyle, which is nutrition is a sub part of your whole lifestyle. Lifestyle also includes your sleep, your rest, what you do outside the gym. So that's the base. Today we're gonna just focus on this part. I'll host some more lecture to talk about this stuff, but today we're gonna just talk about nutrition and lifestyle. Now, to understand the nutrition and lifestyle, first thing I want to tell you is how body function. Before we understand how nutrition function and reacts to our body, I want to explain you guys how body function in terms of when we put the food in the body. So let's go a little bit deeper on that part. This is about hormones and how body react to that. So I'm going to talk about specifically 2 hormones today. Let's write down about these hormones. Welcome. I'm talking about how body function and trying to explain that what are the key part of your body's energy system. Okay, and there are 2 hormones which plays the role. This is the crux. If you understand this, you solve your nutrition problem. Insulin, first hormone with the red, and the other hormone is glucagon. That's how I remember the spelling of it. It's a glue, California, and then gone. So what are these hormones? The purpose of these hormones, right? Let's write down. The first one, the job of the insulin in our body is the storage hormone. It helps store the energy in your body. So let me write this word, is storage. Okay. Glucagon is opposite of that. It does mobilization. So we call it mobilization hormone. Now, what do they store or mobilize actually? The energy we use for day-to-day activity or physical activity. What energy we use? There is a term called ATP, which is the actual energy what our body and muscle use to do activity. But this ATP is generated from glucose. So glucose. That's the energy. That's what this insulin and glucagon are trying to either store or mobilize. Storage happens in 2 ways. It goes either in a muscle cell, blood cell, or fat cell. In our body, we have a capacity that we can store in our muscle cell or a blood cell in a form of glucose, which is readily available for consumption. Once that capacity is full, insulin start to mobilize it to fat cell. Got to store the energy somewhere else, so start to store in a fat cell. So this hormone is trying to store. What glucagon is doing? Glucagon, when we start to do a physical activity and we have a low glucose in our blood, low energy, then this hormone will go bring the glucose for us from the stored energy. It mobilizes and pumps it back to the blood so you can continue to work. So that's the job of glucagon. So they both need to work same time to balance so that we can either operate or store. Super important to understand, right? Let's run a scenario here, how they really work, right, in your body. So let's make a graph of these things happening. So we have in our, let's say this is the extreme level of sugar. So glucose is nothing but sugar, right? You understand the glucose rises in the blood is basically sugar level is rising. You can measure it with the equipments like the testing machines, right? It's super easy to track that. It's not that hard. Now what happens is when you eat a food, any kind of food, you break that food and you extract the calorie. That calorie is nothing but it's glucose. So that is what you get out of the food. Any food you eat, protein, fat, carbohydrate, whatever it tastes, ultimately is translated to glucose in your body, okay? So we got glucose getting into the body, bloodstream, and insulin will be the agent playing a role to try to store them or figure out what to do with them. So let's say I start eating food, my blood sugar level is right here. It's like a little low. And I can give you guys kind of a reference mark. We are drawing, this is the highest level, it's a good spot to be below this, right? So this is kind of graph, okay? Think about, this is about 50%, this is about your 100% capacity, this is 0%, right? And at a certain point, it's like 9 a.m. I wake up, my bloodstream has glucose, low glucose level. I wake up and I eat some breakfast. As soon as I eat the breakfast, that glucose level goes up. Based on what I eat, the spike will be different. So if I eat vegetables and protein, my glucose level probably touch the green and then come down. If I ate pancakes and French toast, then this will go very high and then come down. Makes sense? Based on what kind of food I'm consuming, the spike of a glucose in a blood will change because amount of sugar is in that food. So obviously carbohydrate metabolizes quickly, becomes sugar easily, and it's readily available to your blood, so it becomes a quick spike. Vegetable and protein and fat takes so much longer to break, and it is very slow extraction of glucose, so the spike is a little bit low and it lasts a little bit longer. But the reason you see this spike start to come down in your blood is because insulin started to work. It saw somebody ate a food, started to spike, and right here started to blink. Bing, 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 something is to happen. This blood sugar level is going out of control. So what happens is, if we have another graph here for just the insulin level, right? We have a no insulin, almost like a little insulin, and then here start to see, and then boom, insulin goes up. And then it comes down, right? It did the job to bring the glucose down. This is my insulin monitor. We can't measure insulin very easily. You can measure this. You can 100% correlate that if this is going up, my insulin is going up. That's just 100% correlation because that's your body's job to do. That's fundamentally what pancreas is doing to secrete the insulin when you're working. A type 1 diabetic is a different scenario. We don't have an insulin production system. So then you have to pump it. When you eat, you have to pump insulin from outside. You have to take an injection to do the same thing when you eat the food. Otherwise, you won't function. Higher level of blood sugar in your bloodstream leads to an organ failure. Make sense? So eventually, your organ will fail and you'll die. So if you want to survive, you need to have insulin. It's no option.